Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my Feature.net tutorials. Today, we are diving into a super important feature that every secured application needs, which is password reset functionality. We have all been there, right? Forgetting passwords, resetting them, or even worse, seeing our apps with insecure password recovery systems. Well, I got you covered. Imagine this. You are running on maybe your nice, awesome application for a large user base. Suddenly, some of your users realize that they cannot log in, all because of forgotten password. Without a password reset feature, they are stuck, frustrated, and might even considering abandoning your platform altogether. And for you as the developer, that's a nightmare. You don't want that to happen. That is the reason why password reset is crucial. And not just to make sure users can get back into their account, but also to do it securely. So in today's video, we are going to walk through how we can implement password reset in .NET 8 Web API using ASP.NET Identity and JWT, that is JSON Web Token. If you have been following my content, you know we have already covered things like email confirmation, which is key to verifying your users. Now we are taking it up a notch and adding another layer of security and user experience. So the question that I have for you is, why exactly is password reset such an essential feature? Well, first of all, it's about user trust. People need to know they can recover access to their account without needing to jump through hoops. But more than that, we are dealing with sensitive user data, that is password. So the process has to be secured, token-based, and resilient against attackers or attacks like phishing or brute force. And identity has a nice inbuilt feature for us, and that is what we're going to integrate. So let's jump into our Visual Studio and now let's start this magic. So create a project and add your web API. Give it any name that you want, and that is what I'm going to be doing. So I have my project name as Demo Password Reset with Identity. Well, I could add the API. Never mind. So choose project location, and here it has a folder known as a project in my C drive. That is where I'm going to keep this. So click on Next, and last part here you have to click on Create to get your project created. It's quite simple steps. After you have this project created, there are some packages that's what we're going to be using, and we need to install these. I have these package references already, so I need not to go in and install it again. All that I can do is to go up and restore these packages. So this is what I'm going to be doing. Just go to Solution Explorer. In case you're not having these packages, I think in my previous video we installed same packages. In case you have them, you can just go there and grab the packages and come here and restore them. So I'm going to right click on my project and I'll go to Unload Project. Now after this, I'll just grab my packages. If you don't have them, well, you can also get them installed. You know where to install them, isn't it? If you don't know, let me know and I'll show you where you can install these packages. So you need MailKit for sending maybe a reset link to the person's email. We have JWT Bearer for authentication. We have EF Core, and we have the Identity UI, which will give us access to the identity, and also we have SQLite, that is the database management that we're going to be using. We have tools in order to help us or assist us perform migration. These are the packages that we need, so make sure you get them like this. And after that, I'll just right click on this and then go to Reload Project with dependencies to get these packages restored nicely. Very simple steps, right? Great. And after I'm done, I like building project to see any error or early errors to correct them before they escalate. Yeah, so try to rebuild project often to see or to skip future errors. So I have it succeeded, so it means nothing wrong with my project. I can close this, go to solution, and in here we can start doing something else here. So with the use of identity, we need to create a DB context. Then we're going to inherit from the default identity DB context class found in the package that we installed. So we are not going to perform or specify any model. Let's do that. So I'm going to click on this and add a folder. For organization purpose, I'll give it a name as data. Then I'll right click and add a class to this, so you can also do same. So app.db context, that is my class name. Now with this context, we need to inherit from identity DB context. Now here we need to pass in identity user. You can customize this if you want, but we want to use the default one. So this is coming from, well, let's wait. That is a using statement that you need to add. We need to create constructor for this, and I'm passing this through the options. So I have this copied already. If you watch me, I just have to go in there and I'll paste it. Now, once I'm done, we go back to our program and register the database connection. This is quite simple steps, okay? So in here, I'm going to make it as builder.services. So .add DB context. And here, I'm going to use the class that we created as app.db context. In that, you need to specify an option to get your connection string. But since I'm going to use data SQLite, I'm going to specify this straight ahead in here. And I'm going to name it as auth.db. .db, that is for the SQLite. Okay, so once I have this, well, we are not done. I think we skip. Let's grab this. It should be builder. No, there should be an option first, so we can specify an SQLite, isn't it? So options, then you have options dot use SQLite, and that is where we pass in this. It's quite simple. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is to add identity and authentication, that's the JWT services, okay? So here, let's have builder.services add authentication. So add authentication, and now with this, we need an option. So we're gonna say that this option dot, we have to set up default scheme. And this is going to be JWT bearer default scheme dot authentication scheme. So let's duplicate this 3 times because we need this 3 times. All right, so here we're going to say it is default scheme. So default scheme, and we need default challenge scheme. So default challenge scheme, that is this one. Okay. After that, we need to, after we are done specifying our scheme, we need to add our JWT bearer itself. And in here, it also needs an options. Don't forget that. So, no. Yes. So these options, we're going to say that since we're going to be working with password, we want to make sure we have every little thing that or settings that comprise of password, okay? So we add that and we add those stuffs as well. But first of all, let's get our key. So I'm going to have our byte, and this is our key, or what we can specify this straight ahead in this, and we go. So we're going to say this options.save token, set this to true, and after that, we're going to have another option. Before options, let's have our validate. I think options dot token validation parameters is equal to new. Then we need to specify that, and that is where we need our validate properties here. So let's say you have validate audience. Let's set this to false. Let's validate issuer. Set this to false. validate lifetime, set this to false. Then required expiration time, set this to false. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to have validate issuer sign-in key. For that one, you want to set this to true, and then we need to have our issuer sign-in key. Now this issuer sign-in key is equal to new symmetrical. We have it in the symmetrical security key, and now with this key we need to specify our encoding. So we can also be using UTF-8 or ASCII. So let's have UTF-8 dot get byte, and now with this byte you need to specify your special key. This is mine in here. That is what you're going to be using for your authentication. So it must be unique and safe. Alright, so after you are done with this, we have authentication systems put in place. Now let's go terminate this before you move on. Let's go and add the identity service. So we have our builder.services, then we need to add default. So default identity, and now passing identity user. Since you're using the default one, we need an option. So as for this, specify same options. Now with this option, we're going to say that option.password, we want to concentrate on password dot required digits. So we have required digits, set this to true. Aside from that, you want to have options.password dot required non-alphanumeric, yes, set this to true. So that is the formation of the password. Default, it has all this, but well, if you want to make sure of it, then it's better you also repeat the same thing. So we have default dot password dot, we have required, and here required length, so maybe our unique characters. So special characters here defaultly is accepting 1, but we can make it 2. Okay, so when you add 2, it's okay, we can make it 2 in here, or you can make it more than that. That's the unique characters. But here the minimum should be 2, or minimum should be, we can make it 1, you can make it at 1 or 2. Alright, so the next thing that we need to do here is we need to specify our options again. So for our unique characters, we need to specify, let's terminate this. Well, it is not comma. We have our options dot password. Then we can add required lowercase. You see them here. Uppercase, set this to true, and now do same for lowercase. Password dot lowercase. So set this to true. So now we have our password formation implemented nicely. Great. As we are done with this, we need to add entity framework store. Let's specify our DB context. So app DB context, and we are good to go. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do here is, after we are done with these services, let's go and integrate this in our controller. For now, I'm not creating a class for simplicity's sake. Okay, so I'm not creating a service to be called. I want to do everything in the controller. So when you have the understanding, you can go in and extract them with an interface implementation, register them, and at the end inject it here and use it. So you can be doing that in another service as well. Okay, so let me remove all default stuff, and let's go and actually rename this controller. So let's make it as account. And in here we need to inject our user manager. So let's go and inject a user manager in the constructor using the primary one. So user manager. Now with this user manager, it takes in identity user, give it a name as user manager. Okay, so let's first handle registration. So before, we need to create an account, isn't it? So let's handle that. And this should be an endpoint of post, isn't it? That's for the HTTP verb. So we have HTTP post, and now with this, that is this one, you see that? So this is register, and register registration, we need email and password. That is what we need. We are not actually implementing confirm password and etc. You can add that. So if you have email and password, we take in a public, that is an async task. Let's have action result. Now we say register. We specify the payload as password. So we need our email first, then we have the password. Okay, so we can go in there and extract a simple method which we'll be calling often. So async task, this is going to be identity user, and I will say get user, takes in the user's email, and now here we are saying that await user manager dot find by email, and I'll specify this email. We can make this as nullable. Then the next thing that we're going to do here is, let's say var user is equal to, let's get the user from here. Maybe you can get the user, or since it's a new one, we are not actually implementing validations here. Okay, we want to focus on password reset to make this video simple and clear. So let's skip all validations, and maybe another time we will talk about how to validate. In case you don't know that, I'll also teach you that soon, so don't worry. We have our result is equal to await. So we have user manager dot create async, and here we need to specify new identity user. And now there are some few properties that we need. There are a lot, but let's make this one. We have email is equal to email, and now we have the password hash that is equal to this password. That is what we need. Aside from that, let's come here and specify the password which will be needed for this. Okay, now after this is going to get created, so after that you want to return, and now here we are returning okay with this result. So in case it is successful, we're going to see that. In case it isn't, we're also going to see that. Now let's talk about how to reset. Maybe before reset, we can log in. What do you think? Let's log in first and check that one out. So let's have our same HTTP post, and now here we're going to say this is login. Now login, we also need to specify these parameters. Okay, you can make them as a parameter or query strings. So here we're going to be using parameters of email, then password, because that is what we also need. So you can see when you check the parameters that we need for the registration and login, they are the same. You know, normally they are the same, just that with the registration you need to add confirm password when you're consuming it in the UI, a client like Blazor, React, or any other UI framework. But here, since we are going to handle that everything in the controller or maybe in the Swagger, we can skip that. So let's have our public, and this is an async task. Action result, and I will say login, which takes in the email and also what again, password, isn't it? So when we have this, we're gonna say that this user, or even for us to check it straight, yeah, we can have a user equal to this, or we can first check from here. So let's check with the password sync. So let's say check password. So this password is equal to, we have an await, then we have a user manager dot we can have check password. So you can see we have check password, and now here we need user, isn't it? So we're gonna say await, then get user, and I'll specify the email which gives us the user, and I'll add this password. So we're gonna check in here. Let's make sure this is null, because it's possible of returning null. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and I'll say that if this check password meaning if this is true, it means the password, this user exists, isn't it? Then what do you want to do? We want to just go in there and return. Let's return OK. Now with this OK, unstructured one, let's pass it in. So as an array. Now with this, we're going to say maybe successful, logged in. Okay, now once you are logged in, what do you want to do again? We want to generate the token. So generate token, and now with this generate token, you want to pass in this user. Since we are not having this user, you can create a variable to handle that, or we can also call the method again. So get user, and let's pass in same email. Since we have it already, we can get that. Now let's go and generate this method. So control period, we can generate this method and pass in this identity user in here. All right, so that is when this is true. But in case it isn't, then what can you do? You can have your else and return such as bad request or any other return action return. You can do that. So you can see we are having our login implemented. Now we're going to generate a token over here. So in order to generate the token, we need to create a credential. So let's start with that. We say var credential. So equal to new sign-in key. So we have sign-in credential. Then with this, we need to specify security key. Now a security key, we can get it from new symmetrical security key. And now within this key, what do we need to provide? Let's specify our encoding.etf8, since that is the way that we are getting our byte from. So encoding.etf8.getByte. And on here, let's go and grab our bytes, our key that we specified, because you want to use that in generating the token. So you pass in our key. So aside from having this key, we need to also specify the security algorithm. So let's do that. So security algorithm, and in here we need algorithm dot, we need H, you can use HMark256. Okay, so that is what we need for our credential, and this should be new. So aside from this, we go ahead and generate our token. So we're going to say var token. Now this token is equal to new JWT security. So JWT security token. Now with this token, we specified the issuer. Since we want to say we are not specifying the issuer in the registration or the configuration, we want to skip this as well. And for our audience, same now, we don't want to validate it. Now for our claims, we need to create our claims. And now with these claims, we need maybe an ID or email. Maybe a simple claim can help us achieve this. So before we tackle this, we say these are claims, and now with this claims, we want to say handle that with this. So we need to create this. So this is var claims equal to new, and now with this, let's specify new claim. Now with this claim, we need, which is coming from system.security.claims. Now let's have JWT registered claim names dot, let's say this is email, and now let's provide this email. This is coming from identity user dot email. Okay, this is what we need. At least we have one here, so that's okay. Now let's grab this claim as we set it here. The next thing that we need to do is to specify an expiry. We did not set expiry in the beginning, so this also will be null. And we need the last one, that's the most important one, that's the sign-in credential, and we specify the credential that we created. Okay, so we have this. Now let's go ahead and return new JWT token. Now this time we're going for the handler, and within the handler we have a method to write the token and convert it into string and return that. Okay, so we have our token created. This method is going to generate the token for us. So that's what we're returning in here. So as soon as you log in, you're going to have your token and now your message successfully logged in. Before we tackle the password reset, let's perform migration and now test this and see whether this is working. Then we move on to the password reset. Let's rebuild the project again to make sure everything is intact. Great. So we make sure you pull your package manager console, and in here let's add migration. Let's update it. Yeah, so this is done. Now let's go ahead and run this. So we have our endpoint ready. Now let's go and register. We specify an email. So let's say this is email@email.com. Password is email right at 1 2 3 4 5. Let's click on execute to make sure we register an account. And now when we check the response, it is saying that true, meaning account has been created successfully. Let's go ahead and log in. So we're going to use the same email, the same password. Click on execute, and in case this works, we must have our token. And now we have our token in here. Alright, so this is working. Let's close this. Let's go and tackle the password reset. So you know that before you go in for password reset, you must request for password reset, isn't it? So let's have a simple endpoint whereby user can request an reset from. Meaning it could be a button clicked or whatever in a client. Okay, so there's going to be a request password reset. So let's handle that. From here, we have an HTTP GET. And within this, we're going to say request password reset. And within this, what do we need here? It is only the email of the user, nothing much. So we have our public async task, which takes in action results. And in here we say that request password reset. We specify our parameter as email. Now when we have this, let's get user. So await, we have a method created that is get user. We pass in the email. We are not validating this, we assume it exists. Now let's have a reset token. Now reset token is going to be await. We have our user manager dot create reset password token. Do we have that? So this time around, not create, rather should be generate. So we have reset password. The password reset token is in which takes in the user. We have the user at hand, so no worry, just passing the user. after we got this, we want to, this email is too long. It has some forward slash and backward slash, which is not nice to pass through the address. So we want to encode that and remove all these special characters from it. When we receive it, we're going to add these characters to it again to make it valid. So for now, let's invalidate it. We make it invalid. Then after the user clicks and come to our endpoint, we make it valid again. Okay, so we can do that using this web encoders to handle that. Now this API has an endpoint known as base64 encode. We're going to use that. So let's have our, let's say this is string, and I'm going to say this is valid token. Now this valid token is equal to, this is web encoders dot, we want to generate 64 URL encode, right? Now in here, let's use encoding, not encoder. So encoding dot, you can be using ASCII or UTF-8 dot get byte. Now with this byte, what you want to specify is our reset token. So you pass our reset token. This should be reset, not rest. So we have a reset token. Now the next thing that we need to do here is we're going to send this. So let's return okay. And now with this okay, I'm going to say that send email. Then with this email, we're going to pass in this user dot email, and also you pass in this token, so valid token. That is a method that we need to, or yet to be generated. So control period to generate this method. We have this specified down here. Now let's go and send this email. In order for us to send this email, there are quite few steps that we should follow. We need to first create our reset link. So let's build that. And this could be in the form of string. Now that is reset link. Now this reset link is going to be equal to, let's go to our properties folder and let's see if we can have access to the address of this endpoint, because you want to make a call straight to our local host since we are building this locally. In a development or in a production level, you know what you do, right? You put in your address and you're good to go. Now here, since our endpoint is not having a prefix of API, we can skip that and we go straight to account as a controller. Then in here you're going to have reset password, whereby you're going to provide only token. Now the token here is what you're going to be providing as a valid token. So let's provide a valid token. We have our reset link created successfully. Now we need to build string, and this is going to be in an HTML format. So this is going to be string builder. Then we're going to have an SB equal to new. And in order for us to do this, I created this simple HTML. So I have this at hand. So let me just go and grab that. You can pause the video and type that if you want to do it, or you can just create any simple HTML form template and wow, you make it happen. Within this, we are applying some CSS style in it. As you can see, we have a style, and since we're going to be generated using the HTML, it means it is going to work. Yes. Okay. So now that we have this, we need to convert this to string, right? So let's say this our message. Now this message is equal to this sb.toString to get it in the string format. Now let's create our email. Let's make sure we have this email here. So let me underscore this. So we're saying this email is equal to my email. If you check my previous video, we have same. So that is my message which is coming from memkit. Then we need to have an email dot from. Now with this from, we need to specify, we need to add. Now we add in this mailbox, so mailbox address dot pass, and in here we specifying our from address. Now we close this, and we also need to add, because we have to specify from and to. So we have our, this is to, so whom are you sending to? We specify that. Let's specify an title, so dot subject. Then this is what, password reset. The next thing that we need to do here is to specify the body. So that is where we need to we need to specify the body as HTML. So we set this body. Now we specify, or we pass in equal to new text part. Now this text part, we can specify the text format, and here we want to use HTML. And after we're done with that, we can specify the text itself equal to the message that we created. Okay, and let's be using var smtp equal to new smtp client, which should come from mailkit. And within this, you want to say smtp client dot connect. Now with this connect, we need to specify the host s, that is smtp dot ethereal. Since you're going to be using the fake one, I like using this because it is simple, but there are a lot of fake email that we can use to test. So don't stick to this only, you can explore. 587. Then let's have this having a SQL socket.tls. So that is what we're going to use for the socket. Now the next thing that we need to do here is we need to authenticate ourselves. The one sending the message, please you authenticate yourself. So we say smtp. Now this smtp dot authenticate. And now let's authenticate. We need to specify the username, talking about the email and the password. So we're going to be doing that. And aside from that, we need to smtp dot send. So what are you sending? Passing the email. After that, smtp dot disconnect. Now with the disconnect, you pass in through when everything is successfully sent. We want to disconnect that. And here, this is returning string. So maybe let's specify this as string. Then we can go and return some message to the user. So we say this return. Then we're going to say that kindly check your mail, maybe your email, for password reset link. Nice one. Then we are done. So we need to create account in here with the Ethereal and just specify our from and our to. We're going to send a message to ourselves. Now once you're done, after the user clicked on this, what do you want to do? We want to go in and reset the password. But before I reset the password, we need to create a link. So we're going to be as a receiver. So HTTP get. Now the route here, it is reset password. It takes in a parameter of token. And let's have our public. There shouldn't be any async because I'm not going to process any database operation. And now we're saying that this is reset password. We take in the token in form of string. Then in here, we're going to get this original token. So we're going to say this string, and that's called token. This is equal to web encode this. or maybe we can, before we use web encoders, we can use an encoding. So encoding.utf8.getString, and now with this getString, I'm going to be using web encoders.utf8. so we can see base default decode, and now what are we going to decode? We specify the token that we have at hand, and now we can decode this nicely. So this should be decode, not encode. Okay, then we are set. Now let's create a property here to handle that. This should be saved to database if you want to do that. So this is the string, and let's make this as static so we cannot get its value reset. And now we're saying that here we say this is token, and when we get this, we're going to set this token here, and after that we want to return. Okay, then we say reset password now. So let's create an endpoint so user can reset password. Let's initialize this to empty. Now we come down here and going to reset the password. Now this is HTTP get. This could be post as well, but we can also make it get. So this is reset password, but this password takes in the email of the user, and also we need a new password because we've cached or we've stored the password already, the token already. So we need not to receive any token from the user. All that we need is the user's email and the user's new password. So let's define this method, and this is going to be public async task of action results. So reset password. Now this takes in email and also new password. So within this, we want to get the user and also specify the new password. So we can say that here, let's have results, which will be equal to, we're going to be having a wait, that is user manager dot then reset password. So with this reset password, we need to specify the user. So we're going to be calling get user method, that is get user method. Now this get user takes in email, so let's specify that email, and then we specify the new password. But before that, we need to provide a token. So let's make sure we have the token at hand. And at the end, we want to return this okay with the results. So in case it was able to reset the password, we're going to see that. In case it couldn't, we will also see it. The next thing that we're going to do here is we need to specify this. So let's go to ethereal.email, then try to get a fake account. So in here, ethereal.email, then let's create an ethereal account. So we have a default account created, very simple way. Now let's go to our project. So this is from, let's paste this, and also to the same thing. Let's grab the password, and now let's come here and now paste it. So let's grab that for the authentication, and that is all. So we're going to run application, and after that we make sure our Ethereum is open. If you close it, that is all. You need to open it again, get another account. So once it stays active, you have your account also being active. So make sure you don't close it. So let's see. So we have the account opening. Now first of all, we created an account here, so let's try if we can log in. So here, let's try this to log into the old one, that is email. We have an email at 1234. So if I try to log in, we're going to have access to the login, our token. Alright, so when we check it up, we see we have our token down here. Now we're going to log in, we're going to create a request password reset. So let's click on this. Do not forget the email. We can grab the email here. So that is our request password reset. We need to provide our email address. And now let's click on execute. So let's wait and see the response. After we receive the message, then we can go to our mail and check it up. So check your mail. Oh yeah, we have a password reset. You can see that. So click on it, and we have a simple, beautiful design here with us in that set your password. Okay. Now when we click on this, let's see what will happen. So click on this, and you can see reset password now. So we've consumed it, and now let's go back and see. So there's a reset password. We have this already set or called. Now with it reset password, that is what was causing as we click on this. Now we're going to reset our password here. So there's our there's the email, and now we have the password and a new password. So our password was email at 123345. When we check here is okay, so 12345, and here we're going to change it slightly. We're going to be using at, so at email at 12345. Now this requires, I think we should have, I think when we check here reset password, it is taking in email and a new password. So instead of specifying this new password, we specify this, but it's still going to work. So it's still going to work here. Let's see. So if I click on, or maybe, okay, so maybe we can, let's reload this. Never mind, let's reload this again, because you want to make sure that you are doing exactly what do you want. Okay, although it's going to work still, but yet let's do that. So this is ready again. Now we don't have any current mail, right? So let's do it. So let's go to, when we log in using the same credential, it's going to work. Do you want us to try that? Okay, log in, there's an email, the same password, and if I click on login, this should work. I should be able to retrieve my token. Yes, I have it. So let's go and request password. Now specify the email as email, make a request, and in here after we receive the message, we're going to refresh this. So kindly check your mail. Let's go and check it up. We have it. Click on this, and now we have set your password. So click on this. Now go ahead and I'll make some changes. Now we come to our reset password. We provide our mail, and also let's provide a new password. So using, let's say, admin at 12345. That is our new password. Click on execute, and now let's see if it is successfully created. Yeah, so you can see from here it is what? Reset. So our password has been reset. Now when you try to log in, let's try to log in with the old password and check it out. So from here, there's an old password. Click on execute. Now let's wait and see. We have 400. That is a bad request. Now let's try the new password. So that is admin at 12345. Execute this, and we have it. So you can see we've seen a simple way to reset password using identity. I hope you like this video. Yeah, so if you haven't checked the previous one on email confirmation, I'll put it down in this video description, so you can just check that one attached to this, and now we keep going. All right, thank you so much for watching this. I hope I'm going to catch up again for the next exciting topic as well. Till then, take care and see you.